Okay, hi everyone. I want to welcome you to a new episode of Travel Addict Guy. And I've had a lot of people ask me about apartments here in Spain and particularly what my apartment's like. So today I'm going to show you my apartment, and this is going to soon to be my old apartment. I'm going to be moving actually today at the end of July, and I'm going to be moving to my new apartment. Now I'm downsizing a little bit. I have a 2-bedroom apartment here in the south of Spain, in Malaga, in Andalusia. And I've been renting here for almost a year and a half, and I've actually had, this will be the 3rd apartment I've had, and I've actually rented a room in apartment also in Barcelona, so I can talk about that first. So when I first came to Spain, I was in Barcelona, and Barcelona is very, very expensive. So to rent an apartment, you're looking at 1,000 euros or more generally, unless you go outside of the city. So it's quite expensive. So most people, it's very common to have roommates. Sometimes you have 2, 3, 4 roommates in an apartment living together. A lot of times people are working, they're just there to sleep. They don't spend a lot of time in the apartment as well. So I found this guy, and he was a friend of a friend, Argentinian guy. And I was able to, in fact, he's in some of my other videos, my early vlogs. If you want to check that out, I think you can even see his apartment. His name is Diego, and he rented me a room in an apartment for 400 euros, and it was a decent apartment in Barcelona, and it was near the Sagrada Familia. So it was in a good area, and it was not too far from the beach, from Villa Olímpica and near the Gran Via. So pretty good, and that was including everything. So 400 euros a month, that covered everything, so that was good. Now I came to the south of Spain for a visit to Malaga, for the Malaga Carnival actually, and that was quite a while ago now, about 2.5 years ago, and I really liked Malaga. I fell in love with Malaga. I liked the south of Spain. I found it was quite a bit cheaper than Barcelona. So I was looking around some apartments to rent, and the man had a studio apartment for 550 euros. Okay, so that's the first apartment I rented here, was 550 euros. It's actually in the same building as I'm in now. It was right next door. There was a studio apartment, okay? So that's where I started my journey in Andalusia and Malaga. So I moved in there for $550 a month. That's what I was paying. I had to give a deposit. Now it's really good if you deal with the owner of the apartment. If you deal with a agency here, they call them inmobiliaria. And if you deal with them, you have to show all kind of paperwork. They want you to have a contract, work contract, things like that. Otherwise you can't rent an apartment. And then they're gonna charge you a month, normally a month fee for the agency, and that's the problem in Barcelona as well. I forgot to mention that in Barcelona, it's very, very difficult to rent an apartment. There's a lot of people that want apartments, so they go quickly and they only rent to the most secure people, and you're going to have to pay a month on top of it fee to the inmobiliaria, to the rental agency. So I don't like to do that. So that's another reason I chose to rent in a room in an apartment there. That was a reason. So when I came here, I met the owner directly, and I was able to make a deal with them, and they like to rent to foreigners a lot of times, so that is in your advantage if you do that. So I was able to find him, so I had to just leave a deposit and the first month's rent, and I was able to move into the apartment. So I was happy to be in an apartment for 550 euros. Now I had to pay the water and the electricity. That was not included in the apartment. That was the first one I had next door. I was there, I want to say about a year, I think. And I knew the neighbors here next door. They were living here. It was a French couple, and it's a bigger apartment here. And I thought it would be nicer for when my family comes, because this is actually a 2-bedroom apartment. It has 1 big bedroom and a small bedroom. So I figured when my son is visiting, or my family, and it had a bigger kitchen, things like that. So just a little bit bigger, and I knew the owner pretty well. So he decided I asked him about this apartment. They were leaving, and he said, yeah, if you want to rent it, I'll give you to you for 600 euros. So 50 euros more? Okay, why not? Go for it. So that was at a time, before all this mess happened where they shut everything down. So, and my job was pretty stable then. Now, I'm sure, as you know, everything is less stable than before. So that's another reason I'm downsizing. I want to make sure that I have, I'm very comfortable with my rent, and I don't have an issue paying my rent, because I don't want to have to deal with that in case there's some kind of other shutdown or something like that, because it really affected my business, because I do online advertising, so it really affected that badly. Next door I had electric heating, I had an electric hot water heater, and I had electric stove. So I was paying a little bit more for the electricity, And these apartments can be, I don't have air conditioning, so it's very hot. It's July and it's boiling hot here in my apartment. I don't even know what the temperature is. I mean, look, and I have a fan on and it's super hot. A lot of times I walk around my apartment with no shirt on even. It's, in my apartment, can you believe it? It's almost 30 Celsius. It's like 29. So it's quite hot. I mean, it's the middle of the day almost. It's like noon, 12:30. Moving things to my new apartment. So I'm quite hot and I've just been transporting things. Now, luckily I'm moving pretty close. My new apartment is pretty close. Now, my new apartment is quite a bit cheaper. First of all, I moved to this apartment, it was 600 euros. So I moved in here for 600 euros. And this apartment has gas. And let me show you the setup they have. They have these old gas propane tanks that they use. And that's what you have. So you have these propane tanks here. And you have to change these when they're empty. And from that you have to actually have a pilot light here. I have to light the pilot. So I mean, it's an old setup, and you have this quite a bit. You will have these quite a bit in Spain, and I have a countertop here. It actually lights up pretty quickly. So it's gas, so it's quite nice. Now, a tank of that gas is only about, I think they charge around 1850 euros is the last time I paid, something like that. 18 euros, 1850. And that will last me, depending, at least a month. Sometimes I can get 2 months out of it, depending on, like in the summertime, I'm not using a lot of hot water to take showers because it's so hot now. I mean, most of you are taking cool showers to cool you off, or cold showers, so I'm not really using that. So I don't use a lot of gas right now. Now, during the winter, obviously, I'm taking more hot showers to stay warm. And that's, I'll be using a lot more of the gas. And if I'm cooking more, I'll be using more of that. So I would say in between a month to 2 months with the gas. So I mean, that's quite cheap. That's quite cheap there. I don't have electricity there. Now, the electricity I just have is for my lights. And I can look at the last electric bill, and it's amazingly cheap. It was 16 euros and 9 cents. Now, I'm pretty frugal on the electricity. I don't use a lot of electricity. So now there was a month in January and February I have a plug-in electric heater because it does get quite cold here at night in January and February. Those are the coldest months here. And there are nights where it gets down pretty cold. I mean, it can get even down into the single digits Celsius. So usually doesn't get much below 10. Sometimes it gets down 8 in the early morning, 5 in the morning. So it can be quite cold in the apartment. I don't have heat. And some of these apartments are not insulated that well. I mean, they're older apartments. That's what I have here. But I mean, that's why they're cheaper to rent. Now, if you want a more modern apartment, there are some nice modern apartments, probably in the center of town here, if your budget is higher than mine. You want to spend 1,000 euros a month, something like that. I mean, there's some really nice apartments, probably 1,200. You can really get a really nice modern apartment if that's what you're looking for. Now, to me, I just want something basic. I'm traveling a lot, and it's just myself right now. Now, the water bill. The water bill was usually around 50 euros. And they're for 2 months. That's what I pay usually. My last water bill was actually a bit cheaper even. It was 40 euros, 39.50, and that's for 2 months. So very cheap. Now, I did have a roommate here for a while. I was renting the second bedroom out I had, and I did that for a while. So that was saving me some money. So let me go ahead and show you around the apartment real quick, and because I want to show you the new apartment as well. And the new apartment is cheaper than this apartment even. I have a washer. It's not that great. It's older. Now, he replaced the kitchen recently, like last year. I have my own, this is mine, coffee machine and grinder. I am a bit of a coffee connoisseur. There's my refrigerator. It's a little bit old. And there's some of my things there. Some of my coffee and some of my honeys. Artisan honeys, which I love, from Malaga region. Some are quite good. This one is aguacate, which is the green thing, the big green thing with the big seed on. Avocado, the avocado honey. Oh my gosh, sometimes when you speak Spanish, you forget the English words. It's crazy. Okay, so this is my living room. It's nice. I have cable here. I have cable and I have Wi-Fi included. So this is the second bedroom. Little tiny bedroom here. So it's more for a child, I think. Nice big closet here. So it's very simple. You got this funky little half glass door. Where he came up with that, I don't know. You got a bidet, which I never use. And they have in Europe is the bidet. So you can see it's a good sized apartment. It's pretty good. It's nothing extra special, but it's quite nice for me. Now here's my entranceway. I have that. I have a lot of my stuff here ready to go to get out of here. The main bedroom here. So I have a nice big bed. So that's the apartment. I mean, it's nothing super special, but it's adequate for me. It's quite good. So this I was paying 600 euros a month. So that's what you can expect for around 600 euros a month in Malaga, in the south of Spain. Now you can find an apartment even cheaper if you go a little bit outside of town. If you go out by the airport, there's an area called Campanias, and they have apartments even for around 450, I think, for a studio apartment. But you're quite far from everything, so you're going to be paying for transportation to come into the city. Now I'm quite close to the city. It's called El Molinillo, and it's near La Goldeta. And there's a market here called the Salamanca Market, which I've featured in some of my other videos. Now you see my apartment, you know what it costs, what I pay to live in Spain. I think it's a pretty good price. I mean, I'm pretty close to the center downtown, and I'm pretty close to the beach. And pretty soon I'm going to show you my new apartment. So when I get over there, I'm going to show that to you. I'm kind of excited to move in. The thing about Malaga is it's easy to rent an apartment from September to like June. But once the summer starts, they rent by the week. And I ran into that before when I lived in Chile, in Viña del Mar on the coast, because this is very touristic and a lot of people come in the summer, so they can rent these apartments for $400 a week for the same apartment here. So a little bit more than you're paying for a month, they can get for a week. So for those 2-3 months, what they'll do is they'll rent to tourists, and then they'll rent the rest of the season. You'll see sometimes September to June we're renting, and they'll rent it for the normal price. So that's something to keep in mind. Now I have a 1-year contract. I always go for the 1-year contract if I'm planning on staying somewhere, because I know about that summer. I want to make sure I have this running from August to August, so I have it the next year in case, they want to decide to rent to the tourists. So I have that contract written and locked in. So that's what I have right now. If you want an apartment here in Spain, I can maybe put a few links to some places where you can rent them. There's a couple of situations you can look for. You can look for a shared apartment, which is a good way to start if you're coming to Spain. If you're a younger person especially and you're here, you want to stay here for a few months, you might just want to rent a room in an apartment with a family or something like that, or with another couple roommates. And that might be a good way to learn Spanish as well. That could be a good way to go. Or if you're a student coming to Spain to study, some people do that. So that could be an option. Those are shared apartments. They have one site called Piso Compartido. So I'll put that in the description below in the link. And there are a couple other sites, Mil Anuncios and Idealista. So those are the ones that they normally use to rent the apartment. And if you want to rent particulares, that's what they're called. And that means you're renting from the owner. So they're particulares. If they're inmobiliaria, they're from the agency, like I told you. So you want to only look for particulares, and there's less of those. You have a contract in Spain, you're not worried about, you just want a really nice apartment, they can find you one then, that's their job. But then keep in mind, you're gonna have to pay that fee to the agency, and it's usually equal to 1 month's rent. Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to New York City. You can see behind me. No, welcome to my new apartment. And that man was quite proud of having that New York City poster behind me, or image. It is quite cool. It looks like it's 1938 New York City. So this is the new apartment. I cannot wait to show it to you. I actually spent one night here. I've been working hard bringing all my things over here. So it's tiny, so there's not going to be too much to show you, but we'll go ahead and show you what I have. Now, I have air conditioning here, which is a luxury to have in Spain. That is right up there. And you can see the Spanish television behind me. 24 hours news, so they call it 24 horas, which means 24 hours. So this is a neat parlor trick I have. One of the new items I have these shades here, and I've never seen these before. I mean, probably a lot of people have these, but in the apartments I stay in, they normally don't. So, sorry I'm not going to show you the grand villa today. This is my humble apartment. This is where I live, so that must be another channel, but maybe one day I will have one of those villas in Spain. For now, I enjoy these apartments. Like I said, I like to travel anyway, so wherever I'm at, I like. So check this out. You push a button and boom, it goes up, it goes down. So they're really nice during the day to keep the heat out and to keep the sun out. And it is hot today. Oh my gosh, they're talking about record-breaking temperatures across Spain, up into 40 degrees Celsius and above in some areas. Luckily, we're in Malaga. We're a little bit less, but still going to be up into the 30s today. So quite hot, and it is quite hot if you're not at the beach. So there was some Spanish woman on TV the other day. They were interviewing her. They were talking about the heat, and she said it's too hot. I cannot even sleep at night. So a lot of those cities I would not want to live in the interior of Spain, Sevilla, Cordoba, places like that right now are just super hot. Okay, so let's maybe go out on the balcony. I have a little balcony here. I can just show you. I think this is kind of a tourist street. I think there's some hostels and things like that around here. So we have that going on here, and there's supposed to be a discotheque near here. So I'm right near Carreteria. Down this way is Calle Carreteria. And it's very close to the historic downtown of Malaga. So it's quite nice. Okay, let's take a look at my fabulous kitchen here. It's nice. I'll have to say everything is nice in this apartment. It's really good, but it's just so small. It's just so tiny. There's just so you have to make every inch count. And I like the way that the man has his design, or him and his wife. They're the owners of this place, and they just have it designed quite well because look, they have used every part of the apartment. Look, they have these chairs hanging here. I just love that. Hangers everywhere. And this is the kitchen. So we have a microwave. I got my coffee machines here. I mean, there's no room to spare after that. My coffee machine and my coffee grinder. And I have to have this crazy contraption here. It's a converter because I brought this from the US, and it's 120 volts, and they use 220 or 110, excuse me, in US, and they use 220 here in Spain. So you have to have a converter or you will destroy your appliances. So keep that in mind. That's another thing to think about. If you bring something here like a hair dryer or something like that with you when you're traveling, you need a converter. If you don't, you're going to plug it in and it's going to completely fry that item if it's a US appliance. So we have this electric stovetop here, which took me a while to figure out this morning. I was trying to cook with it. You touch the button here, it heats up. So maybe you've seen one of those. I'm trying to make every inch count. I have this little thing here. Now this is one of the problems. I have this really tiny refrigerator. It's just so tiny. It's like staying in a hotel room. Got a few things. Love my discounts. I got a few things there. Some fresh goat cheese, some milk, some organic eggs that were on sale, some Paulaner, which is some good beer, my apple cider vinegar, so some watermelon. I got some of that the other day. There's a store where they have some fresh, the man sells some fresh produce close to me. So let's go ahead and show you here. She had a bunch of plates in there. I took some of those out, and I had to find some room for my things. So I found a better place for those plates. Up here we have some more space, pots and pans. I do have a dishwasher, and that's just amazing to me. You just don't find these apartments with dishwashers in Spain. It's just very unusual unless they're newer apartments. So that's quite, exceptional to have that. But I don't really use it that myself much anyway. I don't have any dirty plates. I usually wash them and put them on the rack. But if I did want to do that, if I have a party or something, I don't think I'll be having a big party here. But if I did, or I had a lot of dishes, I could go ahead and throw them in that dishwasher. So it's very cool to have. I actually wish it was more storage space than a dishwasher. Under the sink there. And there's your sink. Let's see, a little more storage space. As far as the closets go, we got that electric hot water heater. So I'm into electric now. I don't have the gas anymore like the other place. So the electric bill is going to be a little bit higher. Some more storage with my clothes hanging. So that's what we got going on. That's what we got going on here. We got this lovely futon. Futon here, folds out. It's like a leather type futon. And some more hangers here on the wall. So, and she did have they had a mattress in there too. They told me if my family comes or my son, that he can go ahead and sleep on the futon. He might have to. It's going to be quite tight if he does that. But like I said, when he comes, we'll probably be traveling. And I do like that there's a lot of light in this apartment. You have quite a bit of light, like sun coming in. And he kind of put these up here. I guess if someone is sleeping and someone is there, I mean, that's the idea, to kind of make it separate. So okay, let's go into the entranceway here. You can see me in the mirror. Hi to myself. You can see it from here, the apartment. It's a tiny little entranceway, and we have the fabulous bathroom here. Look at that. I think that's like Hilton, special Hilton. No. So I got a washing machine here. You can see how they use the space here in these small apartments. You got your toilet there and your washing machine right there. Now this is quite a nice washing machine. It even washes and dries, she said. So I'll have to figure that out. Still haven't used that, so I'm sure that'll be fun. I don't have even like a medicine cabinet. I just have this here and I have some drawers there. So quite not a lot of space, but the way that they have it set up, I mean, there's racks, there's a lot of things on the wall. So you do have quite a bit or more space than you do think. Well, they have this big light over the bed. That's quite, let me show it to you if it lights up. You can't really see it during the day, but it's kind of looks like they're gonna electrocute me or something with that big light on. So what I've been able to do is I've been able to close this door here. Let me show you there. I'm closing this door here. So this I kind of like because the air conditioner is in here, so I'm able to close this room off from the entranceway and from the bathroom and kind of keep the air conditioning in here. I have my air conditioning on pretty low, high 70s. I mean, it's, well, let's see, it's 27 Celsius right now. So that's what I have it on right now last night. And that actually felt much better than what I've been used to sleeping in. So you can tell it's quite hot here in Andalusia, but that's what we have. This is the kind of apartment you can find in Spain. Now, 500, I think it's a really good deal. You're going to be hard pressed to find an apartment for 500 euros. Now, if your range is 550, 600, you have some options. So if you're just one person, you're looking for a studio apartment here in Malaga, your price is going to be around, starting more like 550, I would say. And now it depends on where. If you go out by the airport, I say further out, you can find, or in the pueblos, you could find something as low as even 400 probably. So in the actual center of the city, it's going to be hard to find anything below 550, 500, 525, something like that. And it may not be as nice apartment as this. So keep that in mind. You know, if you go into the like Larios and the actual historic downtown, I mean, some of those apartments are, I'm not sure what they rent for, but I mean, probably 1,000 euros or could be more even. But you know, you're talking large apartments. Some are quite large and some are quite nice. That's the difference in price. You're going to be up to more than $1,000 a month range or higher. And Barcelona, the prices just go, I mean, you can spend whatever you want. I've seen penthouses there in the, you know, the really ritzy areas of Barcelona for, I mean, the prices are just, you name it. I mean, millions of euros for like a penthouse or apartment there. So you just have price ranges all over the place, and you know, you have from everything. So, you know, most people in Spain, they do not make a lot of money, especially in the south of Spain. That's the only issue. If you come to the south of Spain and you want to stay here, it's not that easy to find work, especially right now. And a lot of the work that they do have is in tourism, and you don't have a lot of tourism right now. Now, the other option is to rent an apartment, like I said, a shared apartment, and you can do that in Malaga. And I would say you can find a shared apartment right now if you're a student, or if you just want to do that, you're just traveling around and you just want to do that, you could easily find something for 300 euros a month or less. And that can be a good deal. That can be a good way to go. I mean, some of these apartments are quite nice. People rent out their extra rooms, and they're looking to rent to foreigners normally. So that's your advantage. That is your advantage there. Another good option. You can find something there in a nice apartment, probably about 300 euros, or it could be even less. When I rented my second bedroom out, I was renting it out for $275 a month. Now that included everything. So normally when you rent a room in an apartment, that includes everything. And when I rented in Chile, it actually even included like meals sometimes. It was amazing. They would even feed you when you rent in like in a house with someone. I lived with a family and they were even feeding me. So, or I was including a dinner or lunch, something like that. So normally you have to buy your food. So keep that in mind. Obviously, when you rent, everything is included. You know, not your food, everything but that normally. So, and you have to buy like detergent to wash, things like that. So that's what you have to do. So if you're looking for a place in Spain, at least you have an idea. And the south of Spain is going to be much cheaper than, like I said, Madrid, Barcelona. Those are the most expensive areas in Spain. You come to the south, you have a lot more options. Malaga, Sevilla, Granada, places like that. Now, those places are great to rent. Sevilla, Granada, those are great places to live. The only problem is during the summer, the heat is super hot. Some people say it's unbearable. So you're gonna want to try to find a place with air conditioning. That can, like I said, be difficult in some of those areas. Sevilla, Granada, where you're gonna have to pay up for that, because that's a luxury to Spanish people to have air conditioning. That is my video about how to rent an apartment, what it costs, the cost of living in Spain, so you will have an idea of what it costs. So again, I said it's 500 euros here, and I have to pay the electricity part, but everything else is included. I'm sharing the Wi-Fi with my neighbor. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Travel Addict Guy. Take care, everyone. A little bonus footage. Got my nice coffee here, folks. Oh, that looks good. So you see, I am a real home barista. Buenísima.